Hey everyone, now that we have worked on adding and subtracting and we know all of the strategies for both and we've been practicing with them, today we are going to put it to use and we are going to solve some word problems. So we are going to have to use our strategies. We're also going to have to try to figure out if it's an adding problem or a subtracting problem and what we're going to have to do to solve. So to be able to do this, I want you to go grab a piece of paper and a pencil or some crayons or a pen or some markers or whatever you have at your house and follow along with me as I do it here on my computer. Go grab those things, I'll wait. All right, so here is my first problem. It says Melissa had 14 crayons. Andy gave her 6 more crayons. How many crayons does Melissa have all together? So this is an easy one to start off with. Hopefully you already have some good ideas of what you should do to solve this. I'm going to give you something to help. Here is all the crayons that Melissa had to start with. So hopefully you're noticing it's in a 10 frame. I put 2 10 frames here because 14 is more than 10. So I have 10 crayons here and 4 more. I have 14 crayons, which is what Melissa started with. Now I have to figure out, Andy gave her 6 more crayons. So hopefully you're noticing that this has to be an addition problem, okay? Because she's going to get more than what she started with. So I'm gonna move in some crayons that Andy gave her. I turned them blue so we can see what Andy gave her. So Andy gave her 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more crayons. Hopefully you are seeing that these easily fill up 2 10 frames. So now all together she has 20 crayons. So 14 plus 6 equals 20. Okay, hopefully you were doing that along with me. I'm going to do some more and you follow along with me. So with your piece of paper, I want you to try to figure out what you're going to do to solve this problem. Jessica had 9 lollipops. Jamar gave her some more lollipops. Now Jessica has 17 lollipops. How many lollipops did Jamar give her? So you reread that problem, figure out what's important, and try and solve it on your own. Okay, hopefully you were able to solve that problem on your own. If you still need more time, just press pause. Otherwise, we're going to try and solve it together now. So Jessica had 9 lollipops. I know she started with 9. Jamar gave her some more lollipops, so she's getting more. I'm doing some kind of adding here. Now Jessica has 17 lollipops. How many lollipops did Jamar give her? So hopefully you found out you're doing some kind of problem that looks like this. She started with 9, she got some more, I don't know how many more, and she ended up with 17. So maybe you solved it like that, or what I do in my head is I think about what would be in that same fact family, and I come up with a subtraction problem that would be the same. So if I end with 17, I know that that's where I'm going to start my subtraction sentence. And then if I'm taking, or if my other number is 9, I can take 9 away, and I'm going to end up with whatever this number is here. So both of these problems, whatever is in my blank here, is going to be the third number of my fact family. So either way you did that would have been right. So I'm going to bring my lollipops in here. Oh, here we go. All right, so now I have my 9 lollipops, which is what Jessica started with, right? I know she started with 9 here. And so I need to figure out how many I need to add, how many more lollipops did Jamar give her to be able to have them end up to 17. So I am going to turn a lollipop blue here, and I'm going to fill in all of these until I get to 17 blue lollipops. 17 lollipops all together, so not 17 blue ones. Okay, so here they are, 5, 10, 15, 16, 17 lollipops all together. And so I'm going to figure out how many did I have to add, how many of these blue ones did I have to add to be able to end up with 17. So we'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I had to have 8 blue lollipops given to me to end up with 17. So I know that 17 minus 9 is going to give me 8. Okay, so I know that 9 plus 8 equals 17, or 17 take away 9 equals 8. And then I have my picture here to help me solve. So let's try and do some that are a little bit harder. Now we're going to be getting into those 2-digit numbers, which is what we've been working on this week, okay, and last week. So Chris had some toy cars, not sure how many, he just had some. Elliot gave him 12 more. Now Chris has 19 toy cars. How many toy cars did Chris have to start with? Grab a pen and paper, try and solve that. Again, press pause if you need more time, but we're going to try and solve it together. Chris had some toy cars. Elliot gave him 12 more cars. So I know that he started with some amount, not sure how much, but he got more and ended up 12 more and ended up with 19 somehow. So hopefully you're seeing that this is the problem that you had to solve. Or if you're like me, you could think about the fact family and rearrange this to a subtraction problem. So we could also rearrange these numbers, with my biggest number being the beginning of my subtraction problem, my other add-end being what I'm subtracting here, and then I'll end up with whatever this number is, okay? So it will be the third number of my fact family. So that's one way to do it. So now that I have 19 minus 12, I can draw my picture to help me, or learning what we learned this week, we now know how to subtract a 2-digit number. You can use your 100 chart, you can use an open number line, you can use place value blocks, whatever you want to do to solve this, go ahead. I'm going to draw my picture so that we can really see what's happening in this problem, and then we'll try and solve it in other ways. So here are my 10 frames to help me draw this picture. Now, I don't know how many cars Chris started with, but I know Elliot gave him 12. So I'm going to go ahead and drag in 12 cars, okay? And then I'm going to try to figure out how many more cars does he need to get to 19, which is what he ended up with, right? So I'm going to drag in however many cars I need to fill my tens frame up to 19 cars. Okay, so now I have 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and I can see that these blue cars are going to be what he was starting with. So he started with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars. So 19 minus 12 is 7, oops, sorry, or 7 plus 12 is 19. Okay, I can see that if he started with 7 and then he was given 12 more, he ended up with 19. Now I could also do that with base 10 blocks if I wanted to. I could also do that with my open number line or my 100 chart if I had it. But now that we've solved it with that, let's move on to our next problem. All right, so now let's try one with some even larger numbers. Monique had 38 marbles and she gave 13 marbles to Emily. How many marbles does Monique have now? Grab your pen and paper, try and solve that on your own. Okay, press pause if you need more time, but let's solve this together. Monique had 38 marbles and she gave 13 marbles to Emily. Hopefully you see this word gave and you're thinking of subtraction, because if she had 38 and now she has 13 less, we're subtracting. So we're going to solve this problem 38 minus 13. Okay, so I'm going to put my picture in here to try and help us. So I have 38 marbles, 10, 20, 30, 35, 36, 37, 38. So 38 marbles, and then she's giving away 13. So I'm going to solve this using one of my subtraction strategies, which is using base 10 blocks. So I'm going to start with my 38, which I already have out here. I just need to think about this as base 10 blocks. So like this 10 frame is a 10. 10 frame is a 10, this 10 frame is a 10, and then these 8 ones are my 8 ones as my base 10 blocks, okay? So I'm going to use these base 10 blocks to help me subtract 38 minus 13, okay? So the first thing that I need to do is take away 13, so I can take away 1, 2, 3 ones, okay? I'm just going to delete those. I can take away 3 ones, I can delete those, okay? So then I can move on to my tens. Well, if I delete 1 10, that's deleting all 10 of those marbles, okay? And so now I'm left with this, and that's my final answer. I have 2 full 10 frames blocks, 2 tens blocks, which is 20, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 remaining ones. So I have 25. So 38 minus 13 is 25. So I can put 25 as my answer. If you solved that using a different strategy, a hundreds chart or an open number line or finding a 10, great. But I liked using the base 10 blocks. Let's try one more problem together. Ayana gave 40 pieces of candy, had 40 pieces of candy. She gave some to Tavon. She has 13 pieces of candy left. How many pieces of candy did Ayana give to Tavon? Try solving that on your own with your pen and paper. Press pause if you need more time, but let's solve this together. So if she started with 40 pieces of candy and gave some away, but we're not sure how much, and ended up with 13, we're solving this problem, right? She started with 40, not sure how much she gave away, ended with 13. Now, hopefully you're catching on that I can use fact families to solve that. And my same problem with my numbers rearranged would also be in my fact family. So whatever goes here is also going to be this same number. So I'm going to bring over my picture to try and help us solve. So here are my 40 pieces of candy, right? 10, 20, 30, 40. And I'm going to use those 10 blocks to try and help me again. So there's a 10, there's a 10, there's a 10, and there's a 10. And I have to figure out how to subtract 13 to figure out how many pieces Tavon gave her. So hopefully you're seeing that subtracting 13 right now would not be that easy if I'm using my base 10 blocks. What I need to do is try and break one of these apart so that I can subtract my 3. So let's do that. What I'm going to do is take this 10 and break it apart to make 10 ones. I still have 40. All I'm doing is taking away what's grouping it and making them individual ones. Okay, so I still have my 40 pieces of candy. I still have my 40 tens blocks. Now I can easily take away 13. 1, 2, 3 from my tens blocks, or my 3 pieces of candy. I'll do it in both so that you can see both ways. Okay, that was easy. Now I can take away 1 10, take away a 10 block, or I can take away all that candy. So now I have 10, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27 left, and that's my final answer.